Hello student, welcome back to a new video of Shubhodip Roy Chemistry Classes YouTube channel. Today's topic is, today we're going to discuss some important viva questions that are asked by the external in the class 12 practical exams. Okay, we know that there are three types of practicals we have to perform on the exam day. Number one is titrations. There are two titrations, but we have to perform only one. One is more salt versus KMnO4 and another is more salt versus oxalic acid. Second, we have to perform a salt analysis, and third is functional group experiment. Okay, content based experiment, and where we have functional group detections in the given organic compound. So what are the important viva questions that are generally asked by most of the external? See, देखो पहला जो टाइट्रेशंस बेस्ड अगर वाइवा क्वेश्चंस जो पूछा जाता है उसमें अगर एक शॉर्ट लिस्ट करते हैं तो पहला जो बात है कि व्हाट इज टाइट्रेशंस, ये क्वेश्चंस बहुत बार एक्सटर्नल पूछता है कि टाइट्रेशंस क्या है. तो इसका आंसर होगा, जो भी आंसर हम बोल रहे हैं वो सारे आंसर तुम लोग ना लिख लेना. पहला क्वेश्चन होगा टाइट्रेशन क्या होता है. टाइट्रेशन मीन्स मीन्स आइडेंटिफिकेशंस और कैलकुलेशंस ऑफ द अननोन मोलैरिटी एंड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ ए सॉल्यूशंस बाय द हेल्प ऑफ ए नोन solution whose molarity you know. As like in the first practical, the more salt molarity we know, which is m by 20 or m by 40. By the help of the more salt, we have to find out the molarity and strength of the unknown KMnO4 solutions. So this is the meaning of titrations, where one solution molarity will be given to you, another solution molarity you have to find out. So this is the main process of titrations. Okay. Second thing is that related to the more salt versus KMnO4 titrations. In the class 12, both the titrations are redox titrations. In class 11, the titration was acid base, but here it is redox titration. So external can ask you why class 12 titrations are redox titrations. Redox means your answer will be like that. Redox means oxidation and reduction. In class 12, if I take the titration of KMnO4 versus more salt is act as a reducing agent and KMnO4 act as a oxidizing agent. So this is the second important question, why it is redox reactions. Third reaction is that you have to, the external can ask you to write the ionic equation of the more salt versus KMnO4 reactions. So you have to write it. In the reactions, the reaction is like that: Fe plus 2 plus MnO4 minus plus H plus arrow Mn plus 2 plus Fe plus 3 plus H2O. Okay, so this is the reaction. If you balance it, so it will be 5 Fe plus 2 plus MnO4 minus plus 14 H plus arrow 5 Fe plus 3 plus Mn plus 2 plus 7 H2O. The Fe plus 2 is coming from the more salt and MnO4 minus is coming from the KMnO4. What is the oxidation number of Mn in MnO4 minus? Very common questions, which is plus 7. What is the oxidation number of Mn in Mn plus 2? It is plus 2. So oxidation number of Mn is decreases. That means KMnO4 undergoes reductions. KMnO4 undergoes reduction. So KMnO4 behave like a oxidizing agent in this process, and opposite more salt behave like a reducing agent. Another question can be asked very commonly by the external, that what is the formula of more salt? So more salt is very important. Ferrous ammonium sulfate. The formula you must remember: FeSO4 NH4 whole 2 SO4 6H2O. More salt is a double salt, and more salt is not a complex salt. More salt is a double salt. Okay, so this is also important viva questions. Now the third another possibility of viva question can be, what is the molar mass of more salt? So you must remember, or you can calculate. If you calculate it, it will come 392. So 392 is the molar mass of the more salt. What is the molar mass of KMnO4? It will be 158. Okay, Now, the calculations formula, the calculation is very important. The calculation formula is M1 V1 by M2 V2. M1 V1 of KMnO4 by M2 V2 of more salt is equal to 1 by 5. This 1 by 5 is coming from the stoichiometry stoichiometry of the reaction between more salt and KMnO4. That's why this 1 by 5 is coming. So 1 by 5 is the coefficient of KMnO4 and the more salt in the given chemical equations. Okay, so external can ask you why you have written 1 by 5 in the calculation formula. In the calculation formula, you have to calculate the M1. M1 means the molarity of the more salt. V1, question can be asked, what is V1? V1 is a concordant reading. Concordant reading means out of the 3 reading, which reading is repeated most of the time. So this is the concordant reading, and that will be V1. Now M2 will be given to you. M2 means the molarity of the more salt. It will be given to you. It can be M by 20, it can be M by 40, it can be M by 10. So that you have to put. Then will be volume. So volume of the more salt, V2. So volume of more salt is the pipette reading. Okay, so that will be 10 ml. If you take 10 ml pipette, so 10 ml. If you take 5 ml, so 5 ml. Anything, whatever the value you are taking, that you have to put here. You have to solve the equations, and the molarity, that means M1 you have to calculate. So M1 will be the molarity of the more salt. Then after you have to change it into the strength. Strength, how to convert molarity into strength? By multiplying the molarity by the molar mass of the KMnO4, which is 158. So these informations you must remember, because these are very, very important. Now, external can ask you another important question, that how to take the weight, how much more salt you have to take to prepare M by 20 more salt solutions in 250 ml volumetric flask. So for that, there is a simple straightforward formula is there. The formula is W you can calculate. That means the amount of more salt you can calculate by a formula, by using a formula, and the formula is W is equal to molarity of the more salt solutions into molar mass of the more salt solutions, molar mass of the more salt into 250 ml by 1000. So molarity, if you want to calculate M by 20, so put 1 by 20. Molar mass of more salt is fixed. It will be 392 into 250 ml by 1000. If you calculate this, it will come 4.9 gram. If you want to make M by 20 more salt solution in 250 ml, the amount of more salt will be 4.9 gram. Remember this. Okay. By chance, suppose external sometimes can be, this type of question can be asked, that how to, suppose if you want to prepare M by 10 more salt, M by 10 more salt solution, then how much more salt it will be required? So it will be 4.9 into 2. 4.9 gram is required for the M by 20. If you want to make M by 10, then it will be 4.9 into 2. If you want to make M by 40, then 4.9 divided by 2. Okay, so these are the possible viva questions from the practical number 1. Okay, so second is the important viva questions from the salt analysis. Now salt analysis, the range of salt analysis, you must know that it is huge, but then also you can shortlist some important viva questions which are generally asked by the external. Suppose you have Zn plus 2, suppose you have zinc, any example, you have zinc and you have sulfate. Already you have written in your copy that you have Zn plus 2 as a basic radical and SO4 double minus as a acid radical. So the very first questions can be asked by the external, that how you have got the Zn plus 2 and how you have got the SO4 double minus. So in this case, you have to tell the whole descriptions of the group test, preliminary test and the conformative test. So be prepared with these type of questions where you have to give the complete descriptions of your salt analysis process. How you have got Zn plus 2, Okay, how many tests you have done to calculate the Z plus 2, how many tests you have done to calculate the SO4 double minus, everything in full description you have to give. So for that you need to know what are the group test एंड व्हाट आर द कन्फर्मेटिव टेस्ट। देखो, अगर मेरा लास्ट वीडियो तुम देखोगे तो उसमें डेफिनेटली तुम लोग को ये पता चल जाएगा कि एसिड रेडिकल के जो दो लास्ट जो मेरा दो वीडियो है उसमें एसिड रेडिकल्स का जो प्रिलिमिनरी टेस्ट है वो कैसे करते हैं वो हम करवा दिए हैं। तो वो वाले पार्ट से जो भी क्वेश्चंस है वो हम नहीं बता रहे, हम अभी बता रहे उसके बाद से, उसके बाद वाले जो पार्ट है जैसे बेसिक रेडिकल में क्या क्या हो सकता है। और बेसिक रेडिकल शुरू करने से पहले एसिड रेडिकल्स के कुछ कंफर्मेटिव इंपॉर्टेंट कंफर्मेटिव टेस्ट, जैसे एसिड रेडिकल में इंपॉर्टेंट कंफर्मेटिव टेस्ट जो आ सकता है कि व्हाट इज द कंफर्मेटिव टेस्ट ऑफ कार्बोनेट आयन। तो you can give the answer that carbonate ion conformative test is that कि if I into the aqueous solutions of the salt if I add magnesium sulfate I got white precipitate of magnesium carbonate. Okay, so this is my conformative test of carbonate. So this is very important. What is the conformative test of sulfide? Conformative test of sulfide is that कि aqueous solution of the salt added with lead acetate, aqueous solution of lead acetate, and I got a black precipitate of PBS. Okay, these two are important in the dilute sulfuric acid group. After that, in the concentrated sulfuric acids, some important acid radicals conformative test, because already we have discussed the preliminary test. So now only I discuss some important viva questions related to the conformative test of Cl minus. Suppose the question is you have Cl minus, suppose you have Cl minus, you have written already. So a very common question that what is the conformative test of Cl minus. So conformative test of Cl minus is that aqueous solution of the salt added with AgNO3. In this case you will get white precipitate of AgCl, and which will be soluble, that precipitate will be soluble in excess ammonium hydroxide by the formations of diamine. Remember this compound, diamine silver chloride. A soluble complex compound formed, and due to this the white precipitate, that white precipitate formed after the addition of AgNO3 soluble in excess NH4OH. Remember this. So nitrate is chloride is very important. After that, one more acid radical which is also important in the concentrated sulfuric acid group, which is the nitrate. Nitrate conformative test is very important. How to confirm the nitrate? And for the nitrate, you suppose the question is that what to tell me the conformative test of nitrate ion. So your test will be that in a test tube I have taken the aqueous solution of the salt, and then I have added freshly prepared FeSO4, and after that from another test tube I added concentrated sulfuric acid along the side of the first test tube very slowly. Suppose this is my first test tube where I have added nitrate salt solution and freshly prepared FeSO4 solutions. Now from a second test tube I will add concentrated sulfuric acid very gently and along the side of the test tube. So in this case, in between the two layer, that means sulfuric acid will be in the bottom and nitrate salt solutions and the FeSO4 will be in the up. In between the two layer I got a brown ring. What is the formula of brown ring is very important. The formula of brown ring, remember, FeH2O whole 5 NOSO4. Okay, penta aqua nitrosonium iron 1 sulfate. This is the formula of the brown ring, important for the nitrate. Okay, now conformative test of sulfate in the independent radical sulfate. So you all know aqueous solution of the salt added with BaCl2, you will get white precipitate of BaSO4, which will be insoluble in concentrated or dilute AgCl. Okay, so acid radical part is complete. Going to the basic radical. Now in the basic radical, the external can ask you, there are total 7 group, you all know, 0 to group 6. So there are all 7 group. The external can ask you all the radicals which are present in group 0 to group 6. First, in group 0, the radical which is present, it is NH4 plus, but there is no group test for NH4 plus. Now in group 1, the radical which is present, it is called Pb plus 2. Okay, now in group 2, the radical which is present, basic radical, which is copper plus 2, Pb plus 2 and arsenic plus 3. Although arsenic plus 3 and Pb plus 2 is not required, important is copper plus 2. In group 3, although there are 3 radicals present, Fe plus 2, Fe plus 3 and Al plus 3, but the chance of having Fe plus 2 and Fe plus 3 is very minimum because they generate color salt and generally will not get color salt. So the chance of having in group 3, it is Al plus 3. And next, group 4, there are 4 radicals present. 3 radicals generate color salt, 1 radical generate white salt. The radicals are Zn plus 2, CO plus 2, Mn plus 2 and Ni plus 2. Okay. Next option is then after we have group 5. In group 5 we have 3 radicals. So the 3 radicals are barium plus 2, strontium plus 2 and calcium plus 2. In group 6 we have magnesium plus 2. So these are the list of the basic radical that we have in the syllabus. Now the next thing is the group reagent. Very important questions. Generally all the external they can ask that what are the group reagent, the group test for the basic radical. So there are no group test for the group 0 and group 6. That means for ammonium and for magnesium there is no group test. So starting from group 1 we have the group test which can be done by dilute HCl. If lead is present, by adding dilute HCl into the aqueous solution of the lead, we got a white precipitate of PbCl2. Okay, next group 2 basic group test is copper is present. Group test is dilute HCl followed by H2S gas. If copper is present, then copper will give a black color precipitate. Group 3. Now in group 3 the group test is ammonium chloride solid, then ammonium hydroxide aqueous. If aluminium is present, it will give a gelatinous white precipitate of AlOH whole 3. All these informations are important. Compound also you have to tell. What is the formula of the gelatinous white precipitate? Then in group 4, if suppose only zinc has the huge possibility, so you have to use the group test of NH4Cl, NH4OH and H2S gas once again. This is a group reagent for group 4, NH4Cl solid, NH4OH aqueous and H2S gas. In this case, if zinc is present, so zinc will give a dirty white precipitate of ZnS. Then group 5. In group 5, we have to add NH4Cl and followed by ammonium carbonate. If barium is present, so it will give a white precipitate of barium carbonate. If calcium is present, then it also give a white precipitate of calcium carbonate. If strontium is present, it will give a white precipitate of strontium carbonate. Okay, next last group 6, so there is no group test. Now all the conformative test, okay, conformative test for the ammonia. What is the conformative test? Because there is no group test, so only one option is the conformative test. The conformative test we can do by the Nessler reagent. What is the formula of Nessler reagent? Very important question, K2AgI4. So whenever you have to take the aqueous solution of the ammonium salt, you have to add K2AgI4, you will get a brown color precipitate. Question number 2. What is the conformative test of Pb plus 2? The conformative test of Pb plus 2 is aqueous solution of the salt added with aqueous solution of Ki. In this case, you will get the yellow precipitate of PbI2. Now, next, what is the conformative test of copper plus 2? although copper plus 2 will not be present if your salt is white. But then also question can be asked that what is the conformity test of copper plus 2. The conformity test of copper plus 2 is that aqueous solution of the salt added with K4FeCN whole 6, you will get a chocolate color precipitate of Cu2FeCN whole 6. Next, what is the conformity test of Al plus 3? This is very important, and this conformity test is leg test. In this case, you have to do the leg test. How to do the leg test? See, leg test is not a very single line information, it is a whole process. In this case, first you have to take the gelatinous white precipitate that you have got when you have added solid NH4Cl and NH4OH. Remember, in case of group 3. So that gelatinous precipitate, you have to take a small amount of the precipitate. In this small amount of the precipitate, you have to add concentrated ACl. The precipitate will be soluble due to the formation of AlCl3. So AlCl3 is an acidic salt, so solution will be acidic. Then you have to add blue litmus, and whenever you add the blue litmus, the solution will be turns to the blue litmus color will be turns to red. After that, if you add the NH4OH once again, then the solution color will be again turns to blue, and in the blue color solutions, that white precipitate of AlOH whole 3 will reform, will reappear. So this test is called the leg test. Okay, now what is the conformity test of next group, which is Zn plus 2? If your salt is Zn plus 2, what is the conformity test? Conformity test of Zn plus 2 is that aqueous solution of the salt added with dilute HCl followed by K4FeCN whole 6 potassium ferrocyanide. In this case, you will get a bluish white precipitate of Zn2FeCN whole 6. Next option, what is the conformity test of barium plus 2? For the conformation of barium plus 2, you need the aqueous solution of the salt added with acetic acid followed by potassium chromate K2CrO4. You will get a yellow precipitate of barium chromate BaCrO4. Next, what is the conformity test of calcium plus 2? The calcium plus 2 conformative test is that aqueous solution of the salt added with acetic acid, same acetic acid, and followed by ammonium oxalate NH4 whole 2 C2O4. You will get the white precipitate of calcium oxalate CaC2O4. Okay, done. Last option is magnesium. You know that magnesium has no group test, so only the options of conformative test. How to confirm magnesium? In this case, you have to take the aqueous solution of the salt, you have to add NH4OH followed by diammonium hydrogen phosphate. In this case, you will get white precipitate of magnesium hydrogen phosphate. So this is the salt analysis. Now it is complete. I have discussed all the acid radical conformative test and the basic radical conformative test. इसको ध्यान से पढ़ना, ध्यान से वीडियो को देखना और सारे इंफॉर्मेशन को सुन के याद रखने का कोशिश करना. डेफिनेटली इसी में से क्वेश्चंस एक्सटर्नल पूछेगा. ठीक है, अब चलते हैं लास्ट प्रैक्टिकल जो है फंक्शनल ग्रुप डिटर्मिनेशंस. इन द फंक्शनल ग्रुप डिटर्मिनेशंस, हाउ मेनी functional group we have. See, in the syllabus we have first unsaturation group. Unsaturation means double bond, triple bond. So in this case we have to do the Bayer's test. What is Bayer's test? Into the organic liquid we can add the Bayer's reagent, which is cold and dilute KMnO4, which has a purple color. If you add the purple color Bayer's reagent, and if the color decolorized, if the pink color decolorized, that means pink color turns to colorless, then the compound must have unsaturations. Okay, so this is the first test. KMnO4, cold dilute KMnO4, which is also called Bayer's reagent, you add. If the purple color of the KMnO4 decolorized, then the compound must have unsaturation. So this is the test. Moving to the next is how to identify the alcoholic OH group. To identify the alcoholic OH group, there are many possibilities. You can do sodium test. You can add a small piece of sodium directly, you can add to the alcohol. Okay, if your compound has alcoholic OH group, you can directly add a small piece of sodium. And if you are getting hydrogen gas, so the compound must be the compound must have alcoholic OH group, and the compound must be alcohol. What is the reaction going on? The reaction is ROH, 2ROH, sorry, 2ROH plus 2Na is equal to 2RONA plus H2 gas. So evolution of hydrogen gas you can observe. Moving to the next is another possibilities of identification of alcoholic OH group is by the seric ammonium nitrate. Seric ammonium nitrate has a orange color solution. If you add into the alcohol, the color of the alcohol will turns to red color. Okay, so this is another possibility, in another option to identify the alcoholic OH group. Third is how to identify, third functional group, how to identify phenolic OH group. To identify the phenolic OH group, there is a best option for you, which is the FeCl3, neutral FeCl3 test. Whenever you add neutral FeCl3, which has a brown color, into the aqueous solution of phenol, you will get a deep violet color complex compound. What is the formula of the complex compound? Very important questions. The formula of the complex compound is third bracket FeOC6H5 first bracket close, then whole 6, and in the third bracket also close, and outside -3. So third bracket Fe, first bracket OC6H5 first bracket close, whole 6, third bracket close, and then -3. This is the complex. For that this violet color appear. Okay, third functional group is also complete. Fourth functional group is test for aldehyde. So for the test of aldehyde, we have two options. We can do Tollens test, and we can also do Fehling test. For the Tollens test, we need a Tollens reagent. What is Tollens reagent? A very common viva questions. The Tollens reagent is ammoniacal silver nitrate. Ammoniacal silver nitrate. The actual formula is AgNH3 and then OH. Okay. But simply we can write this Tollens reagent as a Ag2O. Ag2O, that means Tollens reagent, is a mild oxidizing agent. It will oxidize the aldehyde RCHO into RCOH and reduce by the aldehyde into 2Ag. So whenever you will do the Tollens test, you will get a silver mirror due to the formations of metallic silver. But in this process, you have to heat it, both the mixture of aldehyde and the Tollens reagent in a water bath. Another possibility to identify the aldehyde, it is Tollens. After the Tollens is Fehling test. What is Fehling? For the preparations of Fehling reagent, you have to mix equal volume of Fehling A and Fehling B. What is Fehling A? Fehling A is the light blue color solutions of copper sulfate. What is Fehling B? Fehling B is the colorless solutions of alkaline sodium potassium tartrate, okay, which is also called Rochelli salt. If you mix together, then a deep blue color solution will come, which is called Fehling solution. Now if the Fehling solution is added to the Tollens, sorry, not added to the Tollens, if you add it to the aldehyde, and if you heat it into a water bath, after some time the blue color will change to brown red color. The reaction is RCHO plus CuO arrow RCOOH plus Cu2O. The red color formed due to the formation of Cu2O. Okay. Tollens and Fehling both can oxidize aldehyde, but they can't oxidize the ketone because they are mild oxidizing agent. They both oxidize aldehyde into the corresponding carboxylic acid. Okay. Number 5 is carboxylic acid. Carboxylic acid, how to identify? To identify carboxylic acid, you have to take the organic liquid and you directly can add sodium bicarbonate or sodium carbonate. Very simple test. If you add sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, you will get effervescence of CO2. Reaction will be like this: RCOH plus NaHCO3 arrow RCOONA plus CO2 plus H2O. But there is an option for you, which is esterification. Very important. External can ask you about esterification. So esterification is not a theory questions here. It is also a practical based questions. So for the esterifications, you need carboxylic acid. You have to add alcohol, ethanol you can add, and you have to also add concentrated sulfuric acid. So you will get a fruity smell of ester. Reaction will be like this: RCOH plus ROH arrow concentrated sulfuric acid RCOOR. That means the ester will form, which has a fruity smell. The last option is the identification of the primary aromatic amino group. In this case, you have to take aniline. The compound will be aniline. So first you have to do azo dye test, the best option for the identification of primary aromatic amino group. So in this case, the compound will be aniline. That means benzene ring and up NH2 group. First you have to do diazo reactions. For the diazo reaction, you need sodium nitrite and ACl. Okay, concentrated ACl. So the aniline will be converted to benzene diazonium chloride. Okay, and then you have to do coupling reaction with phenol or with beta naphthol. But for my suggestion will be you do with beta naphthol. It will give better result. Okay, alkaline solution of beta naphthol. So if you do with the reaction with beta naphthol, you will get a red color dye. It will form. So this is the observations. This is the visible observations in case of this प्राइमरी एरोमेटिक एमिनो ग्रुप. ठीक है, तो ये था मेरा एक बहुत ही क्विक सारे इंपॉर्टेंट वाइवा क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस कर दिए. अगर अच्छा लगे तो चैनल को शेयर करो और इस वीडियो को शेयर करो. ठीक है, और चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो और इस वीडियो को तुम शेयर करो, लाइक करो. ठीक है, ये सारे क्वेश्चंस अगर तुम पढ़ोगे तो डेफिनेटली तुम्हारा यहाँ से कॉमन मिलेगा. ठीक है, सो थैंक यू.